What would you say if you were told that the medieval world of Joan of Arc, some 600 years ago, wasn't much different from our world today? Say you look beyond the obvious, the great advances in lifestyle and various technologies. Setting all that aside, what in the broad scheme of things wouldn't be much different? Stick around and find out. You might just be surprised. Joan of Arc was born in 15th century France, one of many countries plagued by the Black Death, a rat-borne bacterial disease which at its height had wiped out in 8 years, reportedly up to 60% of the population in Europe. Symptoms range from high fever, headache, cough, and shortness of breath, to bodily or joint pain, swollen lymph nodes, blood clots, and vomiting. Even when the worst of it was over, there would be recurrences and outbreaks in Europe, and all the way to Africa, China, and Southeast Asia. Infected patients would be dead in a week until a cure was discovered in the 19th century. More significantly, it shifted the power dynamics within societies, changed the social, political, and economic landscapes. Then there was the so-called Western Schism that split the Roman Catholic Church in two, where there were 2 popes, even 3 at one point, each with papal seat, cardinals, and administrative offices. For almost 70 years, a succession of popes seeking refuge from chaos and strife in Rome would be headquartered in Avignon. The schism would end when Joan was 5 years old. But greater schisms were yet to come, where a number of emerging states and royal houses found it worth their while to buy into the theological arguments of the day and weaponize the slicing and dicing of belief, this over a span of 3 centuries. This is not to say that the Catholic Church wasn't and actually continues today to be badly in need of reform, but it succeeded in weakening and then dividing the heretofore powerful Catholic Church into the ever-numerous sects and subsects that we have today. Martin Luther himself would be horrified, even enraged by the destruction of monasteries, churches, and libraries, and decry the killing and the violence as the devil's work. He wrote, "Satan has entered my sheepfold and committed ravages which I cannot repair by writing." 2 years earlier, when Joan was 3, almost a whole generation of France's noblemen, military leaders, and officers was either killed or imprisoned at Agincourt in 1415. The list of casualties included 3 dukes, 6 counts, 90 barons, the commanders of the army and navy, and almost 2,000 knights. Today, it's what would be called leadership decapitation. Now, you might want to think that with most of their brethren either killed or captured, the remaining nobility would close ranks and regroup. That didn't happen in Joan's France, which would endure a civil war between 2 cadet branches of the Capetian dynasty, with one branch allying themselves with the English. And so it was ripe for the groundswell of support that St. Joan of Arc would inspire among ordinary folk. The hard-pressed townspeople and peasantry, armed and willing to die for her, joined Joan's quest to win France for the French, even as the ruling classes on both sides of the war continued to bicker and fight and betray each other, and to send their young men to fight their wars against each other. Any of this sound familiar?